A new topic, the dominant ninth chord. As with the added sixth in the 5-7-6 chords, the added ninth is heard most often as a result of a non-harmonic tone that resolves to a chord tone. But also like the added sixth, the ninth will occasionally become frozen, that is, heard without its resolution on the same chord, and its sonority can be interpreted as a coloristic and independent entity. The ninth chord is usually found as an extension of the dominant seventh in either a major or minor key, as shown here. In the major key, example 25.9a, the dominant ninth is a major ninth interval from the root tone. Also, the top four notes of the chord have the same structure as the leading tone 7 chord in the key. In this case, B half diminished 7. In fact, the dominant ninth chord can be understood as a kind of combination of the 5-7 and the leading tone 7 half diminished chords. In the minor key, example 25.9b, the dominant ninth is a minor ninth above the root tone, and similar to the major version, the top four notes spell the leading tone chord of the minor key, B fully diminished 7. To distinguish its sonority from the major version, we label it as 5 flat 9 7. The voice leading for these chords is shown here. In each case, the ninth resolves down to the fifth of the tonic chord, and the seventh resolves to the third of the tonic chord. The fifth of the dominant ninth is usually omitted so that all of the significant chord elements can be included. In example 25.10c, a progression is given that illustrates the dominant ninth chord with a minor ninth, A flat, actually being used in a major key. As with many other instances of modal borrowing, this chord that derives its structure from the minor key can be used to interesting effect in a major key. Here are a few important features to remember about the dominant ninth chord and its resolution. Number 1, the ninth is usually placed in one of the upper voices. Number 2, in a major key, use the major ninth, and in a minor key, use the minor ninth. However, it is possible to use the minor ninth version in a major key as a modally borrowed chord. 3, omit the fifth when voicing the dominant ninth in 4 voices. 4, resolve the ninth stepwise down to the fifth of the tonic chord. And 5, as always, resolve the seventh stepwise down. In example 25.11, Liszt uses the major version of the dominant 9 chord as a secondary dominant in measure 4. The secondary dominant in measure 4 is B flat, D, F, A flat. It includes an additional note, C, a major ninth above the root. This pitch is retained in the upper voice into measure 5, where it continues to be a coloristic note. Here it is the added sixth above the dominant 7th chord that does not resolve until the final quarter note of the measure. In example 25.12, Beethoven presents a dramatic dominant 7th with a minor ninth at the end of the second movement of Piano Sonata No. 15 that extends for 4 measures. The dominant in measure 91, A, C sharp, E, G, includes the pitch B flat. And once the chord is established, Beethoven prolongs the harmony with a highly ornamented melody that culminates on a low B flat in the bass voice of measure 94. This particular 9th chord has been an important musical issue throughout this movement, and in the final measures, Beethoven returns to it in a grandiose gesture. At this time, you should do the Check Your Understanding 25.3 found on page 221. You should pause the video to do these examples. When you're finished, come back to the video and I'll show you how to do it. The first example is in the key of G, and we can see the 9th at the very top of the voicing. That resolves downward by step to the 5th of the 1 chord. Here's the 7th resolving downward by step, and the leading tone resolving upward and giving us a complete chord. F minor is going to have the 5, C going to the 1, F. First we'll find the leading tone, which is E natural, C, E natural. Here's the 7th, and finally the 9th, which is the same as a 2nd, by the way. This is a flat 9 because in the key of F minor, it automatically is a flat 9. Resolving downward, the 9th, resolving downward, the 7th, and upward, the leading tone. Notice we did not put a 5th in the 5 chord. Finally, we have the key of A. The E is the 5 chord, resolving to the 1 chord, A. Here's the leading tone. Here is the 7th of the chord. We'll not put a 5th. And we're going to add a 9th, but in this case, we have to lower the 9th because it indicates a flat 9th, and we're in a major key. So then we have to actually manually lower it with adding a natural there. That 9th resolves stepwise down, that 7th resolves stepwise down, the leading tone is going up, and we've got a 5, flat 9, 7, resolving to a 1 chord in the key of A.